Oh, hi, okay. Hi, I'm Diane Wiltshire. I'm the business manager in the Rehabilitation Sciences Institute. Welcome. I'm going to give you a little brief explanation of the program and then some other information that you may find helpful later on. So Rehabilitation Sciences Institute, it is basically an integrated research across a lot of scientific disciplines. We focus on understanding enhancing human function and participation in family and community, society, and its relationship to health and well-being. Now, that being said, we are part of the rehabilitation sciences sector in the Faculty of Medicine. We house not only Rehabilitation Sciences Institute, but also we have physical therapy in our sector, occupational therapy, and speech language pathology. Now, why would you choose RSI? First, we are ranked #1 in rehabilitation science in the world. Um, that is by the ranking here. Our strengths. Now we have world-renowned faculty from all across the university. We have research programs and infrastructures that is quite well known. Exceptional hospital partnerships. We have partnerships with UHN, uh, Toronto Rehab, Holland Bloorview. It's quite extensive. We have an interdisciplinary focus, and that's one of the things that brings our students to us because we're not just focused on one discipline, we have many disciplines. We have over 10 collaborative programs that we are part of. Our student satisfaction is very high. We survey our students every year, and we've always had good satisfaction from them about the program. And because we're not a huge program, there's a lot more student-faculty interaction. Our student base and our resources for our students, because we are in the Faculty of Medicine and at the university, is quite extensive. And our students do have a large alumni peer network that they can draw from. Now, I've talked about our exceptional faculty. Here's a few of them that to show you. We have faculty from several departments such as medicine. We have those from nursing, engineering, kin. We have faculty from music and from the Dalla School of Public Health, pharmacy, and science. So we have quite a few faculty, which allows students to choose supervisors from various parts of the university. We have award-winning mentors and educators. So a lot of our faculty have won many awards. As you can see, we have Dr. Tom Chow, who's won the Governor General Award. So the faculty is quite extensive, and I think they definitely bring a lot to the table when they're helping our students and mentoring them through whether it's their 2-year or their 4-year or 5-year program. So the possibilities for research is endless, actually. We have interdisciplinary learning and a vast knowledge of translation. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can go just about anywhere. We offer 2 degrees, a Master's of Science and a PhD. They're both research-based degrees. We're not a clinical program. So in order to be in our program, most of your work will be on the research side. We're not course heavy. There's not a lot of courses each year. With our PhD, there is comprehensive exams. Within the program, we have some fields of study which you can focus your research in, or your research can fall into multiple fields. So we have the movement science group, we have occupational science, rehabilitation health services studies, the rehab technology, which is we'll talk about a little bit later, and the social and cognitive health sciences area, and then we have our speech language pathology field. So we do have many of these fields. Sometimes the students' research can fall into one of these fields, but like I said, it can be in multiple because the research can span many fields. I mentioned about our collaborative programs. These are the collaborative programs that we are part of. So not only would you come out with your degree, but you would also you could also connect with a collaborative program in one of these areas. Our most popular areas, I would say, are the cardiovascular, our neuroscience area, women's health. They're very, very popular with our students, and the Institute of Biomedical Engineering is also another popular one for us. Once you apply to the program, you can select a collaborative program to be part of, or you can do it within the first 6 months that you are in the program. Now, how do you maximize your chances of admission? I guess the first thing is your grades. For the master's program, our minimum level to get in is a B+, but obviously the higher your grades are, the better. We look at the final 2 years of your undergrad, of your senior level courses. The other thing is a supervisor. Supervisor is key. You must have a supervisor to be in the program. You can either come in with a supervisor, or while you're applying, start looking for a supervisor. That person has to agree to mentor you and work with you, and also help fund you. Research experience, that's an interesting thing. I mean, we don't expect our students who are coming in with their master's to necessarily have research experience unless they've been out of the school environment for a longer period of time and they've been working. Then we kind of look at more of the research experience. As far as a PhD, we do look at some research experience and publications and presentations, because you would have already completed a master's of science and hopefully have published your thesis in your master's. Funding's key. No student is in our program without funding, so all our students have a minimum base funding. It either comes from their supervisor in the form as a research stipend through their grant, or it can come in awards and scholarships, or a combination of those things, and sometimes some funding from the department level. Applications. Application is also important. We need to make sure that you write compelling application and you have the proper references. Now we do not have a rolling admissions. Our admissions is usually in September. We do take PhD students in January if they're transferring from their master's to their PhD, but normally our admissions is for September. We have 2 rounds for September. The first one is January 7th, and the second one is May 1st. This is the same deadline for both domestic and international students. At the bottom, you see the link to where you can apply. If you go to our website, again, like most of the programs, you apply through the School of Graduate Studies with your application documents, and then they come to the department. The application process is fairly straightforward. Official transcripts. Once you apply, in the beginning, you need to your unofficial transcripts are fine, but we must have your official transcripts by the time you start the program. A recent CV is needed. 2 letters of references. These need to be written by a referee who can comment on your academic and your research ability. So not necessarily, we don't need a reference from your employer, unless your employer is involved with your academic or your research ability. So it's not the person that you work with at the, down whatever job you're in. We're looking for academic letters of references. And we look at 2, and they come directly to the department. Your letter of intent, probably one of the most important things. It basically tells us what you're wanting to do. We have specific questions on our letter of intent for you to answer. With the master's, there's a limited number of space as far as where you put your information. With the PhD, we ask you a certain amount of questions, and we ask that you keep it to under 3 pages when you write your letter of intent. In that letter of intent, we ask you to identify a faculty member who has agreed to work with you. So the process starts fairly early when you start looking for your supervisor. Your supervisor, or potential supervisor, should also include a letter indicating their financial support and confirming their supervision. This is very important, and it does become part of your application, whether it's at the start or during the process. We would require that letter from your supervisor or potential supervisor. When I say supervisor, because if you're a master's student going into the PhD, that person could have been your supervisor in your master's. Now, as far as our students and where they go, here's a few of our graduates now. Dr. James Tung, who is, he was actually in our collaborative program in IBBME, and he's now assistant professor. We have Dr. Jackie Sheffield Taylor, who did her PhD with us, and she is actually a physical therapist and is now, as you can see, at the London Health Sciences Centre. And Heather McPherson, who did her Master's of Science with us and is now the president and CEO at the Women's College Hospital. So we do have quite a few graduates in different fields. Our graduates don't just go into academia, although some of them do, especially the ones who finish their PhDs. A lot of them go into industry, some of them go into government. We've of late been getting a lot of students going into the sports field because we have students working in concussion research, and that has been a very sexy topic lately. So a lot of organizations are looking for people who have a lot more knowledge on those areas. So we actually are having our own an information session tomorrow from 3 to 4. And that's where you will see, if you do like to attend, a lot of our faculty who are looking for students will be there talking about the type of research that they're doing, and let the students know who's available. There'll be some alumni and current students there just to tell you a little bit about the program. We're a very small program, so we have about 20 to 30 students per year. So it gives us a little bit more of a community aspect, and we pretty much know all of our students, and they tend to know each other, even in these COVID times. The information session is from 3 to 4. It's virtual. You can register at our website here. At that session, we'll try to give you more information. I mean, I don't mind answering some questions now, but I think the key area that students usually want to know about is funding, because we don't take students without funding. And then finding a supervisor. Finding a supervisor can be very difficult because you need to make sure that that person and you fit. Fit is huge. It's not just about the research fit, but it's also about the personality fit. So on our website, there is listing of all our faculty, and it indicates who's accepting students, and you can read a little bit more about them and the research that they're doing, and email them and have a conversation. They're always willing to speak to students and see what their interests are. Many of our master's students, I would say, go on to PhD with us. It's very common, and you have the option to do your full master's and then do your PhD, or do your two-year master's and then go on to do your 4 to 5 year PhD, or you can go into the master's and transfer into the PhD. In that case, you do not finish the master's, you would just in the end get the PhD. So that just shortens your actual program by about a year. The only fortunate thing is if you don't finish the PhD, you end up with no degree. So a lot of our students do stay and do the 2 year of their master's and then move into their PhD. So it's just a personal preference, I guess, and depending on the type of project that you are working on. I'd like to say many of our students do not necessarily work on campus. They don't do their research on campus. They're spread out all over the GTA. We have students doing research at Toronto Rehab. We have students doing research at the Hospital for Sick Children, Holland Bloorview Kids Rehab. We have some at Baycrest. We have some working in other areas, and we actually have someone doing some work in conjunction with McGill. And then we have students that are doing that have worked with us overseas. So we do have an international student population, and we're actually increasing that lately. We've graduated. We've got students from different countries who've gone back to their own country and become quite successful there. So that's something that we're working on, bringing in more international students. Every year we increase our international complement. So if you're interested, I would suggest that you sign up for our information session, and you know, bring your questions there. I'll answer some here, but I think our information session will definitely give you a little bit more in-depth knowledge of who we are and meet some of the people behind the program. I can take some questions. And also, I just want to say that you can stay connected with us on Twitter, Facebook, and our website. We're quite, our social media is quite active. So anything new happening or exciting about our program, we usually do tweet it out or and have it on Facebook. So if you want to stay connected, this is a great way to do that.
So if you have any questions for Diane, please post in the chat box and she'll be happy to answer them for you.
I will also post the link. So let me stop sharing. I will post the link for our the information session that we're having tomorrow.
Send it to me. You didn't send it to everyone.
Oh, sorry. We actually are currently at 120 registrations at that. So, but we can take up to 300, which is probably one of the largest we've had. I think having it virtual has definitely helped bring in more students.
Yeah, there's a plus to that.
Yes, there is. Yes, but we've never had that many. But I think having the faculty at these events who are actually looking for students does help.
Yeah, most of our presenters were all faculty.
Yeah, but we have like a lot of faculty that are looking for students. So we couldn't bring them all. It's so we do have them at our session because we have them in breakout rooms. Everybody's really quiet. I guess I answered all the questions. Whoa.
There you go.
What would be the best way to approach a faculty to ask about being your supervisor? Once you've looked at them up in the website, you see the area, the best way is to send them an email. Our faculty are very receptive to email, and just let them know you're reviewing their profile and you're interested in doing whether it's your master's or PhD. And for a master's, sometimes they're not really, I know students are not really sure what they want to do. So you can say that to the faculty member. You don't have to, we don't expect you to come in with your master's knowing exactly always what you want. And sometimes the students don't know and they feel intimidated. So don't feel that way. Our faculty are quite good at speaking to students and letting them know, well, this is the kind of projects I have working on. What are you thinking about? So I think you'll find that they're very receptive to that. For students looking at doing a PhD, it might be a little bit different. Than you might have other things that you really want to do. Just tell them, just talk to them. Our faculty are quite open and receptive to emails from students. They actually like to hear from the students, and just ask. Just don't be afraid to talk. I hope that answers your question. Oh, I was gonna add, we don't do interviews in our program. So you would apply. We meet as an admission committee, and then the offers go out. I know that's usually a very common question. You're welcome.
Okay. Are there any more questions for Diane? Just don't be shy to post it in the chat box.
I'm going to I've put our general email in. If you do have questions that you need, that you haven't, you forgot, or you decide you get back and you have something you want to ask, just please email us at that email and we will be glad to get back to you with information.
Okay, since there's no other further questions, do you have any anything else to say, Dan?
No, other than that, we're hoping to keep our momentum going. We like to have students from all various backgrounds, as far as whether they're not just health sciences, but music, engineering, because it does help with the breadth of our program. So I encourage all of you to come out to our information session tomorrow and hear some more about our program.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to stop sharing. Stop recording.